This is Hannibal here from the HannibalTV.com, and joining us today, back again for one of her multiple appearances, is one of my favorite guests, all the way from Russia. She's beautiful, she's elegant, she's classy, even pretty. She likes to be called pretty. Xenia, how are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me yet again. You're also one of my favorite shows to be on, so I'm really excited to be here.
And every time I have you on, you've grown. Your growth on social media has been great lately. Do you want to tell the fans a little bit about your Instagram following, and even your YouTube channel has grown a lot in recent months?
Yeah, I'm doing my best, and my YouTube, just like you mentioned, recently surpassed the mark of 1 million views, which is huge for me personally. I know it's not a lot for YouTube, but I just feel like it's a huge milestone. And with Instagram as well, I've been trying to kind of widen my reach and do maybe a little less wrestling on Instagram and maybe a little more fashion, lifestyle, even food, such things. And also, I recently had a food-related series on my YouTube channel, which is called Did That Kitchen, and it took so long to produce because last time I appeared on your show, I said that there was something coming on my YouTube channel that was not going to be related to wrestling, and I was referring to that. And it took that long to actually put out, but I'm actually really proud of it. So I've been, working a lot on my social media presence, and I feel like this work has been paying off.
Oh yeah, even fans of mine have told me, "Hey, have you seen Xenia's growth? It's amazing." And yeah, definitely. And speaking of fashion, you're looking wonderful today in one of your
Thank you.
stunning outfits. How big is your closet?
It's very big. Like I can't even, like sometimes people ask me like, oh, like how many bags do you have? Or like, oh, how many pairs of sneakers do you have? And I can't really answer that question because I genuinely do not remember. And I love how you complimented my outfit today, and I'm literally wearing like sweatpants and like wife beaters. But thank you anyway. I'm glad it looks good.
Well, it actually looks like a dress from this angle. It doesn't look like a wife beater. So maybe it's the person that makes the outfit in your case. And I wanted to ask you, WrestleMania is right around the corner.
Yeah.
I know you're usually stopping by the WrestleManias, attending the fan fest and so forth as a collector, but now you're actually becoming more of an actual presence in wrestling as a reporter and commentator and manager sometimes. Sometimes you even getting in the ring here and there. But are you going to be at WrestleMania this year, or is the situation that's going on in the world right now going to prevent that?
I actually talked about it a little bit on my YouNow stream yesterday. I'm recently on YouNow. My profile is younow.com/Xenia, that you can follow me on there if you like, live things. And I didn't actually, I wasn't that much of a live kind of person, but they contacted me and they asked me to partner up. So I'm now doing live streams sometimes, 2 times a week. And I said that I was going to try and go to WrestleMania. But in the end of the day, when I started doing my research, when it comes to accommodation and especially for the flights, it's just a little too complicated with the whole COVID situation. So I decided, maybe next time, because now with the travel restrictions, right, because of COVID, it's really hard to travel from Russia to America. It is hard to travel from Russia to America, even in the normal state of things, but right now, even more so. I need to, switch several airports and spend 3 days in transit, which is crazy. And then when I go to an event, I don't just, sit around. And as you said, I'm not I am a fan. I will always be a fan, but I am also a journalist, a reporter. And this is work, this is work and leisure. So I'm just going to be, running around for this entire week. And I feel like after 3 days of travel, that's just not something that I could handle right now. So I decided, let's maybe wait a little longer. Maybe we'll get some flights back that we used to have regularly here. Maybe, it will be easier with the whole the pods that they have for the WrestleMania stadium, that you're supposed to go in there only with family members, and the pod is the capacity of the pod is like up to 6 people, and I'm like, I'm not sure how I'm supposed to even go alone to WrestleMania. So it's just too complicated right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, even for Canada and US traveling, it's highly complicated. I've been in the US now for almost 2 months because it's just too complicated to go back and forth. And there's nothing going on in Canada right now because they're much more locked down, whereas here in Texas it's fully open already.
Yeah, it's so weird how in America it's so different from state to state, right? Because in Florida we have like full-blown wrestling shows running, but then in some other states there's like a very harsh, very, very harsh restrictions, and they're basically still in lockdown. Russia it's kind of eased off by now, but also we have way less cases than America does, so that kind of makes sense.
Have you been vaccinated yet? How's the vaccination situation down there?
I have not been vaccinated yet, and as you probably know, you guys, Russia has its whole like different vaccine that actually came earlier than the American vaccines. And my American friends were messaging me all confused and like sending me news articles like, "What do you mean people are getting vaccinated in Russia? We don't have a vaccine yet." I'm like, I know, right? It's kind of weird, but mostly people that are getting vaccinated in Russia right now, I think it's the same as in America: elderly people, people who work in education, people who work in medical facilities, and that's only fair. So no, I have not been vaccinated yet.
Now, Rise over here 305 wants to know what's your favorite company between WWE, Impact, and AEW. I seem to think it's AEW, judging by the posts that I see from you.
Yeah, I don't like to pick favorites because, yes, I would admit that recently I've been picking AEW as something that I watch regularly. That is true, but also I've been watching WWE for as long as I've been a wrestling fan, and they were the company that brought me into wrestling. And I always say that it might be a good thing or a bad thing, but I don't think I'll ever stop watching WWE. So I don't really think that I have a favorite. TNA, of course, would be something that I watch more rarely, but I still try and keep up. And especially since TNA is now working with AEW, which is, by the way, huge for the industry, and everyone was so happy when they announced it, and it was like a celebration, which I really, really love for the both companies. But yeah, I like a little bit of everything.
So I haven't watched much of AEW. I saw the whole exploding ring fiasco and Christian's debut that some people thought was going to be Batista or Brock Lesnar. But you want to fill the fans in because I feel bad, but I've been too busy and doing other stuff to follow it. So what's been going on in the AEW world?
Yeah, with the Christian signing, it's so weird how we're getting such mixed reactions because, as you guys know, again, AEW announced prior to the pay-per-view that they were going to have 2 huge appearances, 2 new signees, and that they were Hall of Fame level. And of course, people were speculating. And of course, like the most shocking things would be sure, like Batista or something like that. But I didn't even fully believe it myself. Like people were pretty sure that it was going to be him, and I was like, I don't think so. But then they signed Christian and Ethan Page. And it's so weird how these reactions that the fans had kind of showcase the entire problem with the fan community. Because when discussing the Christian signing, people are like, oh, he's like one of the older WWE guys. Why are they signing WWE rejects? Like, he's old, stuff like that. But when they signed Ethan Page, people go like, oh, who is he? Like, I don't know him. He's not a huge star. Like, he's not Hall of Fame level. Like, who even is he to be taking up a spot? So basically what we have here right now is people being outraged whatever AEW does. And it's specifically weird since AEW has been very much doing fan service with all of their signings and with all of their like shows and new things that they have been trying. They're trying to be the good guy as opposed to WWE. They're like, oh, WWE doesn't give you this, doesn't give you that. Let us be the promotion that gives you that. So I feel like in the end of the day, they have this great balance of new signees, of new wrestlers, of new people, part of which are the faces that we know and love and people who have had tremendous, huge careers before AEW and are kind of semi-retired. Same with the Big Show, Paul White, and Christian and Sting, and there's nothing wrong with that. And then they are signing a ton of new people who are like fresh straight from the indies, like Layla Hirsch, and it's also great. Like, why not? We also need those wrestlers to have an opportunity to have access to a bigger platform. So I really have nothing to complain about here.
Yes, I like to hear your perspective, because a lot of the fans that watch this channel, even though AEW won a poll that I did as the most liked channel by the people that view my channel, a lot of people don't necessarily like their product. And have you been following WWE much lately? I know they recently banned thigh slapping, and that's been pretty much big news.
I mean, yeah, I have, but I wouldn't say that I'm watching like every single weekly shows, but I do try and, if I don't watch Raw, at least I'll read like a recap. And one of the good news for me personally was that apparently Buddy Murphy is back and wants to get back with Seth Rollins, which kind of, defeats the whole entire purpose of the whole Mysterio storyline. But, whatever, at least he's on the screen. And yeah, the thing about the thigh slapping, or like what is that about? It's so weird, especially considering that we're having shows without fans, especially on the main brands, and any kind of noise is more than appreciated and needed right now. And that's part of the reason why when they first started doing like no crowd shows, I particularly enjoyed women's matches, and in particular Asuka's matches, because I feel like she was one of those people who knew how to work an empty stadium. And during her matches, she was doing great with, feeling the void of the crowd being absent. And I feel like any kind of noise right now is, precious. So why ban that? I'm just baffled as anyone else.
Are you surprised that WWE is going to continue on with the Thunderdome concept? From what I understand, even though AEW is having between 600 and 1,000 fans at events, and there are states that are allowing fans, and the Thunderdome has kind of run its course, but it looks like they're going to keep going ahead with it for a while.
I am not surprised, to be completely honest. And I am not surprised for two main reasons. That's two. Reason number one, I've been saying it on my channel throughout the entire pandemic that as bad as it is, of course, it's dangerous, people died, stuff like that. Of course, let's just get it out of the way. But with the pandemic, some promotions were forced to get more and more creative. And the Thunderdome is one of the, fruits of that situation. And it does allow a lot of wiggle room for storylines and for special effects. And also it does allow fans from all around the world to join. And I have been in Thunderdome once, not my cup of tea, but I tried it once for the channel. And it's a great thing to keep running. Like, why not? And it's something that WWE discovered thanks to the pandemic and to the lockdowns, but there is no reason that they should abandon it once they can admit fans. And second reason for that would be that WWE is really walking on eggshells right now, really, because something that WWE does in regards to the safety of their talent and of their fans during the pandemic will be criticized twice as much as if it was AEW doing that, or TNA doing that, or whoever else doing that. Because WWE, I'm thinking about AEW so much, because WWE has already experienced several outbreaks, and they have experienced several minor scandals with some of their talent walking around and partying, like not wearing masks and talking about how they're anti-vaxxers or something like that. And now WWE is in such a precarious position that anything they do will get criticized. And I'm already seeing so much backlash when it comes to WrestleMania and them doing, as rumored, 75% capacity. And they actually postponed the ticket sale date, which to me, again, it's crazy that we're a month away from WrestleMania and you still can't buy tickets. And some people speculate that the reason why they postponed the date is because there was a UFC show with full capacity, with a full capacity crowd. And now supposedly WWE wants to figure out a way to make WrestleMania full capacity as well. So maybe that's the reason that they postponed it. So I feel like the Thunderdome is a good thing to keep, at least for now, and it's an innovative thing. So why not?
Well, you did do a video on your experience about it, but maybe you could give us the short form of how it was to be part of the Thunderdome. And did you actually appear on TV, or did they keep you up?
I did.
Yeah? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I appeared on TV, even though I stayed in the Thunderdome for like maybe 15 minutes, which is a super short time. And I'm not sure why they, kicked me out. Maybe that was because I had like some Wi-Fi issues or something like that. But I've heard like stories from people who stayed on there for like an hour, 2 hours. So anything is possible. But actually, to be completely honest with you, first of all, okay, it was cool. Like, it was great. It was cool to be a part of the experience, even though we're in the pandemic and there's no crowd. It was cool to be able to sit, in my case, in Spain and be in the Thunderdome at a WWE show and see myself like on TV in the crowd. That was also really cool. But it's really not my cup of tea, as I said. Because of the time difference, because I had to like get up in the middle of the night and I wasn't able to just watch wrestling comfortably like in my pajamas. I had to at least, get dressed up and look half decent because I'm going to be on TV, even though I'm going to be like this big. And also, it didn't go as smoothly as I'd expected it to go, because when I clicked the link, it didn't work. And if I was a different kind of person, and if I was not determined to make it work for the channel, because like I was like, come on, I put on my makeup at like 4 a.m. I need to do everything and anything to get on there, at least so that I can say that I did everything I could. And it took like 20 clicks and like page reloads for me to actually be let in. And also, I hear that they have like very strict rules as to what you can and cannot do. And part of those rules are not even like written anywhere and are not even like official. But people have reported being kicked out of the Thunderdome for eating, drinking, for like changing like their position, like not sitting upright and stuff like that. So to me, that's just a bit, too high of a risk for too low of a reward. But to each their own, I guess.
Someone's asking on here, is wrestling's popularity growing in Russia? What's the status of it? Here in the United States, I would say it's actually growing. I would say MMA is becoming less popular and wrestling's kind of becoming a bit more popular.
That's great to hear, by the way, because I hear from my American friends a lot that like wrestling is not as popular in America as it was, and I can't really, assess for myself because I don't live in America. Like, I did not see the rise of wrestling because I'm pretty young, and to me, like compared to Russia, to me it feels like in America wrestling is like tremendously huge. But in Russia, yeah, I would say that the popularity has been growing, and especially since the lockdown and like the whole pandemic restrictions have eased off a little bit recently. So we've been having live shows with live crowds, and the promotion that I work with, IWF Russia, has started doing tapings with live crowds as well, which is great. And it's really, lifted up the spirits of wrestlers as well. And it does make the picture, way different. It looks way more like natural and way more alive. And we're also having some, mainstream attention on wrestling, which is great, because I feel like after the lockdown, people are so starved for like entertainment and for like shows of all kinds. So we've been having like celebrities showing up at shows. We've been having different like channels reporting on it, which is also great. And I feel like that's also one of the ways that the pandemic helped wrestling, helped the industry in a way.
Now, there's a fan on here that wants to know what you think of Bobby Lashley winning the title from your boy, The Miz.
Yeah, I'm the person to ask, right? I mean, on the one hand, I do feel like Bobby Lashley is a deserving champion. He's had this super long career, and it's been such a long time in the making. And he's also like the second ever African American WWE champion, which is amazing. But he won it from The Miz, who is my favorite wrestler. And even though when Miz won the title, first of all, I was ecstatic. Like, I am not as emotional when I watch wrestling at home. Of course, it's one thing to be like in a live crowd, but when I watch at home, I'm not like one of those people who like say watch football and like scream and like get up from the couch and like swear at the players. I'm pretty calm when I watch wrestling, but when Miz won that title, I am telling you, like I sprung up from the couch and I screamed bloody murder at like 5 a.m. in Russia, in Moscow. But yeah, I was really happy, but I wasn't expecting this reign to last really, because first of all, it was pretty evident that Miz was going to be a transition champion, and second of all, even as a fan, I don't really feel like this long, significant reign was something that Miz needed really at the point in his career that he's at right now. He's having a lot of, media appearances. He has his reality show. He's been having this like mainstream celebrity interactions, and especially with his feud with Bad Bunny. So I feel like this title probably could do more harm than good in the long run for him. But still, I am gonna admit I did want this reign to last maybe a little longer. Like I went on a podcast of my friend Ella J. She has her podcast called A Wrestling Girl, and we did a special to celebrate the Miz winning the title, and she had to like push the episode forward in her schedule because we were so unsure that Miz was gonna keep the title, like even past like the first week, which ended up happening. But there we like joked around that when we were like younger and we were the younger Miz fans, we were like, I want Miz to win like the WWE title and like have all the titles and like hold them for the longest time and like set all the records. But now I'm like 25 years old and it's 2021, and I'm like, the one thing I want from this reign is for it to last more than 3 weeks, and we didn't even get that. So I'm a little pissed, I'm not gonna lie. But I mean, it was gonna happen anyway, one way or the other.
Well, his average ratings were better than Drew McIntyre's, so he could at least say that.
Yeah, and by the way, he's so decorated that if he won the WWE title one more time, he would be what's the word? Not triple crown. What's the other word? Help me, I forgot the word.
I don't even know. I'm not a big championship person, but
no, like when the person wins like one main title and like one other title and one tag team title, they're a triple crown champion. But when they win like two main titles, one other title, and the tag title, what's that called? I can't remember. Oh my god.
Yeah, I'll look it up during the next question.
Yeah.
Somebody says you must have a crush on Miz.
No, I really don't. He's a married man with 2 kids. He's just my favorite wrestler and nothing else. But yeah, what was I saying? I was saying that if he won the WWE title again, he would be like double that thing because he's already won the other titles so many times. So,
yeah, he's definitely underrated, and his television show, which I haven't seen yet, but I do follow the ratings, it beats NXT seemingly more often than not in the ratings for everyone that likes to talk about how great of a show NXT is.
I mean, reality TV, I feel like it will always be more of a mainstream product for the mainstream public than wrestling is. So again, not surprised, but he also has that. And I don't follow it regularly for whatever reason. Maybe because I just have so much wrestling to watch and to keep up with. But I've seen several episodes and it's fun. I mean, it's pretty fun. So that's great for him.
And for any fans that don't know, she has actually interviewed The Miz. So she has another reason to be a fan of his, and I think he's a better champion than Drew McIntyre. I will say that.
I mean,
I thought it was too short of a reign, and they switched the title too fast. That was my opinion on it. Although I do like Bobby Lashley.
Like, I hate to be, one of those people because everyone wanted McIntyre to get a push and everyone wanted McIntyre to get the title. And like, I hate it when that happens, when everyone's behind the wrestler. And the second that they get their push, everyone's suddenly bored and everyone's suddenly like, I don't like this anymore. So I don't want to be that person. But I feel like throughout his reign, he somehow has become a bit too much of, this very like likable, nice baby face for my liking. So I wouldn't say that I enjoyed his reign that much.
Now, this is an unusual question. Someone on the Great North Wrestling Twitch channel. I don't know if you know about this. I don't. He says, what's your thoughts on the recent findings on Hawking radiation? And do you think it will impact professional wrestling moving forward? How will the industry as a whole, with the changes they'll inevitably have to make? I have no idea about this, but you're more intelligent than me. You might.
It looks like I'm not, because I have no idea either.
Well, here's one I know that you know all about. Jefferson E. White says, how's Miro been doing in AEW? And I did see your post the other day about Miro and Jim Cornette. Maybe you could fill us in on what's been happening with those two, because I haven't reported on it.
Yeah, regarding the Jim Cornette situation, he basically called Penelope Ford promiscuous for whatever reason. Like, I have no idea, like, why would anyone even think that? And of course, Miro and Kip Sabian, her husband, jumped to her defense, which some people found Miro's reaction too extreme, because he was basically threatening Jim Cornette. But I felt like it was extremely appropriate, and it's high time that someone did react like that, because a lot of the time when someone is, trolling or like being an asshole on the internet to wrestlers, and especially female wrestlers, we kind of shrug it off, and we're like, oh, just don't react to it, oh, it's fine, like they thrive off your attention, so don't give it to them. Sometimes that is right, but some other times the asshole just needs to be told that they're an asshole, because this is going to keep happening if we allow it to keep happening. And Miro, I feel like, is a great person to actually put their foot down and actually speak their mind on this, because I feel like it's high time that male wrestlers actually take a stance against people harassing female wrestlers. Because while women in wrestling are extremely powerful and amazing, and they like don't need anyone to actually defend them, because they can do it on their own, but in the end of the day, we live in a system where said harassment is acceptable and is not really frowned upon that much. So I feel like it's really time for male wrestlers to take, a serious stance on this. And I really admire Miro for doing just that.
Yes, too many people seem to give Jim Cornette a pass when it's not just heel heat. You're calling somebody a slut that you don't even know in person, or you're making fun of handicapped people, making fun of autistic people. There's certain lines that you shouldn't have to cross. And yes, at some point you should have to if you say stuff about people, you should have to face them and deal with the consequences of saying that kind of garbage, in my opinion. So I'm not a huge Miro fan, but I'm happy that he stood up for the girl there.
And Cornette has been doing it for years and getting away with it. And, like, he has his army of his fanboys who, I won't say defend him, but they outright harass and bully people who, like, openly criticize Jim Cornette. And I feel like this whole, boys club mentality can be really scary, especially for people who are newer in the industry, or for people who represent marginalized social groups. And I can say that I myself have held off on speaking up about my opinion on the situation and talking about Jim Cornette whatsoever. I've never even mentioned him on the channel, even though I do talk about women's rights a lot in wrestling, because it is scary. Like, I'm gonna say something bad about Jim Cornette, and then his fanboys are gonna bully me on the internet and are gonna call me a slut, and of course no one's gonna die because of it, but it's still kind of scary, especially since I am I've been doing the journalism and blogging thing for a little under 3 years. It's not a long time, and I'm fairly new in the industry, and I don't have like a support system in the industry. So at times it can be scary to speak up about it as a woman. But Miro is an established wrestler in a big company, and he is in the position where he can and should use his voice to defend those who can't necessarily do that in the same capacity as he can.
Very good points. SoulCon86 says, who takes your photos on Instagram? She's looking good.
Thank you. Well, my photos on Instagram are mostly taken by my friends, my boyfriend, my mom. So that's a whole mix of people. It's not like I have a professional photographer follow me everywhere, even though that sounds like a great idea.
You don't like to consider yourself a professional model, but you're one of my favorite models. I'll have to say that, whether it's professional or just your boyfriend taking the pictures. Jay-Z wants to know, what would be your finisher? I know you've done some wrestling. Did you think about that?
You always say like, "Oh, you've done some wrestling." I haven't done any wrestling. I did one training in my whole entire life, and that was just for the channel. Like, I don't have any plans to continue that. It's just because the question of like, why don't you train to wrestle is like one of the most frequently asked questions that I get on my channel, on my social media. So I decided to do the video, and I did it for my birthday last year to kind of, give the people what they want. I don't know what my finisher would be. Maybe something like of a powerhouse nature, because I am very tall and large. So I think I could pull something like that off. Maybe like a choke slam or like a gory bomb or something like that.
A lot of fans have been commenting about Bad Bunny lately. What are your thoughts on this rapper, I guess, that's getting a push now in WWE? I think, from my understanding, he gave away the 24/7 title on Raw last night or something.
Did he really? I don't know. I have not seen Raw yet, but something weird. I had a dream about Bad Bunny today. But yeah, I always, jump to the Twitter grounds and Twitter wars to defend Bad Bunny, because first of all, he's a great rapper. Just let's get it out of the way. And I do like rap music, that you guys know, and I've already mentioned it on one of the previous interviews. But also, I feel like any kind of mainstream exposure for WWE and for wrestling on the whole is amazing, because for wrestling to gain new audiences, we need mainstream exposure, because we keep like setting up this whole conflict and war for like NXT versus AEW ratings, but those are under 1 million people. Like, it's not even that big of an audience. And instead of fighting for that, maybe we could attract some new viewers. And that's why reality TV is great for WWE as well. And I feel like Bad Bunny is one of the greatest, celebrities to grace WWE ever, because he has this immense respect for the industry. Like, he knows what he's doing, and he knows what kind of an industry he entered. And he has loads of songs where he mentions wrestlers. He rocks wrestling merch all the time. Like, he actually brought the 24/7 title to mainstream TV, which is also huge. And like, he's one of those people who's not just there for, for money, for the bag. He's actually there because he genuinely loves wrestling, and he respects it, and he knows stuff about it, So I feel like he's a great find for WWE.
Trailer Park Cinderella says it's called the Grand Slam Champion, what you were talking about.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it just slipped my mind entirely. So yeah, if he won the WWE title again, he would be a two-time Grand Slam champion.
Fernando Diaz wants to know if you had a favorite cartoon or cartoons growing up.
Yeah, I did. And one interesting thing about me is that when I was a kid, I actually had like Nickelodeon and like Fox Kids on my cable. So I was watching mostly American cartoons as a kid. So I can actually discuss American cartoons with people my age, which is great. My all-time favorite is SpongeBob. I know it's mainstream and I know it's a basic answer, but I just genuinely really love SpongeBob. I also really love Totally Spies, Hey Arnold. I recently remembered, like, I had like some sort of like a flashback in my head that I watched this cartoon. It's called like Rocco's Life, or like Rocco's something like that, about the kangaroo who moved from Australia to America, and I really like that too. So I pretty much watched all of the like late 90s, early 2000s mainstream Nickelodeon and Fox Kids cartoons and enjoyed them very much. I always liked them better than Russian cartoons, which some people would ostracize me for, because here people like to make this like juxtaposition that like Russian cartoons are so like nice and like pure and sweet, but American cartoons are like dumb and they have this weird ideals, which I do not agree with. I feel like maybe part of the reason that Russian cartoons kind of averted me, even as a kid, is that they are very like patriarchal and very like traditional, and I never really related to that. So yeah, I watched all the the Nickelodeon classics mostly.
Very interesting, and we caught a glimpse of your nails there. Could we get another look at them?
Yeah, and it's fun that maybe for the first time my Instagram followers actually chose the design, and I've been thinking of doing like one of those videos like YouTubers do, that like I make my Instagram followers like choose what I do like throughout the day. So I think that could be fun too.
There you go. Where can they follow you on Instagram? It's Xena or Xenia did that.
Yeah, it's at
I'll
Xenia
let you
did that.
spell it for them.
Just like every other social media that they have, it's at Xenia did that on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, everywhere.
And I would highly suggest everyone follow that, especially her Instagram. If you're an admirer of beauty like I am, she's got some great pictures. Eddie Costa wants to know your favorite flavor of ice cream.
Oh, I love this question. First of all, I love ice cream, but I think my favorite is like one of those like controversial ones. Maybe I would say my favorite is mint chocolate chip, and I know some people hate it and some people love it, but I genuinely really love it. Maybe something else would be like out of the classic trio, I also enjoy like a good chocolate ice cream, but it's not that often that you find really good chocolate ice cream. But when it does happen, it's delightful.
Somebody is actually putting you over your favorite Lana on here.
Yeah, I always say that I'm not, all about like comparing women, because like you can compliment me without putting her down. And I am a fan of hers. Yeah, I really love Lana, and I feel like in a sense she's like paving the way. So definitely she's like she's like on my side. We're not playing against each other.
Have you seen the interview that came out a couple months ago where she was crying and going into a bit of a breakdown? I only saw like the clips of her crying. What was that all about?
Yeah, it was a documentary that they released on the WWE network that I ran to watch like the exact same day that they released it, and it was a really great watch. And well, most of the WWE network documentaries are very well done, and they are great to watch, and they're very professionally shot. But taking a glimpse into Lana's life especially was really interesting for me, because just like I mentioned earlier about Cornette, right? She got like so much hate and like negative reactions on the internet because of her gimmick and because of the role that she had to play in WWE with the whole Bobby Lashley storyline. People took it seriously or pretended to take it seriously just so that they have a pass to bully her about it. And we always like shrug it off like, oh, there will always be trolls. Like, you just gotta have thick skin to do this, to be on screen in any sense of the word, because people will always hate you, especially if you're a woman, especially if you're an attractive woman. People are gonna nitpick and people are gonna bully you anyways, just because some of them want to be you, some of them want to have you and they can't. And it's always like, oh, it's just a part of the business, but sometimes it really does get under your skin, and sometimes you really you really can't ignore it, and you really can't just shrug it off and make it go away. And I feel like it was really healthy for the industry and for the fans to see that sometimes their words on the internet do affect people, because even I, like, sometimes when I get hate comments, like, of course usually I try to ignore them because yes, don't give them attention, stuff like that. But sometimes when I respond, it catches people off guard, because it really seems like they don't realize that they're talking to a real person, and that you actually see those comments and that you actually can respond, and they get scared and then like start apologizing and stuff like that, which is so wild to me, because it feels like on the internet people, especially men, feel like they have a free pass to harass women. And it really should not be like that. And I feel like that documentary really brought some light to that issue. And I hate that Lana had to like pay such a price for it and to struggle with her mental health because of it. But at least she's now setting, an example, and at least she's a role model for me. I know that for me she's a role model.
And it also came out in some documents not too long ago. She makes something like 600 grand a year off of social media alone. So that's a consolation prize for the harassment, I guess.
Yeah, which is also, a goal to strive for me.
I actually had the same experience with you, where when I'll answer haters, sometimes they will say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
Thanks for responding to me." So
yeah, they immediately start backpedaling, and usually it's people who like follow you. And you can ask any like content creator that is a girl or a woman on the internet. Like we all have like those people in our like DM requests that we don't read the messages of. Where if you open the the DMs, they go like, "I love you. Please respond. You're so cool. You're so great." And then they switch to, "I hate you. Like you're a slut. Like you're horrible." And then after some time they like switch back to "I love you." And their reaction depends on like, if you respond, depends on like where you catch them in the cycle. And like apparently they just try to get your attention like that, but they follow you and they like your pictures and they like watch your videos. But suddenly their desire, as I said, to be you, have you, or get your attention or whatever, turns into this burning hate that they can't even hold back. Which is so weird to me.
Yeah, I love how they're always one of the first to make the comments, and they hate us so much, but they're right there as soon as we post a video.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody was a big fan of Rocco's Modern Life on Nickelodeon. Somebody's asking, what are your hobbies beside wrestling?
I feel like maybe I fell victim to this narrative, in the modern world where you're not really allowed to have like hobbies, like you need to monetize everything. Because at first my channel and wrestling were the hobby, and then I decided to kind of try and make it a source of income and try and build a career in that sphere. Then my Instagram was my hobby because like, okay, I'm a wrestling journalist, but I also like fashion and I like food and I like cooking and stuff like that. But then I was like, wait, why not monetize that as well? So now Instagram kind of is work as well. So I'm really not sure whether I have any like actual hobbies in the classic sense of the word. I like true crime and I like alien stories and like ghost stories, and I watch like true crime documentaries sometimes. Not sure that qualifies as a hobby really. But yeah, most of my hobbies have become work to one extent or the other.
Well, you may as well make money off your hobbies. I don't think I really do anything that I don't get paid for anymore.
Yeah, so exactly.
It's strange. And I even get to talk to beautiful women like you and get paid for now. I'm living the life.
Dream.
Fernando says, what's your favorite type of music and how did you get introduced to it? You already mentioned rap. Is there anything else?
Yeah, like my absolute favorite artist is Post Malone. I am kind of obsessed with him. I even flew to another country pre-COVID to catch a show of his, and like I mostly enjoy like this kind of music, like new school rap, like maybe some trap here and there. Like as I said, Post Malone. I also love Doja Cat, Nicki Minaj, stuff like that. And I know I already talked about it on the previous interview on this here channel, and I know Hannibal was kind of surprised that I'm into this kind of music, but my music taste really did change at a certain point in my life, because when I was a teen, I mostly preferred like rock, like some even like some metal stuff, like core things, like deathcore, metalcore, whatever core. And then like at about maybe 21 or like 22 or 23 years old, it kind of snapped. Something happened and I got into rap all of a sudden.
Yeah, I would like to see you dressed as a goth sometime. You should do that. You used to
I did that quite recently. Like, I think about 2 or 3 years ago, like I kind of went there and decided to dye my hair a crazy color for the summer. And I had like this neon yellow hair, which was so fun. I loved it so much. It was too high maintenance to keep it for, a prolonged period of time, but it was really cool. It looked really, really I guess you could say maybe even gothy sometimes. And for some reason, I started like getting this vibe back because I did dress like very much, in this like dark-ish fashion when I was a teen. And for some reason, I started like getting flashbacks, and I like put black lipstick on a lot and like gray lipstick and like wore, all black, like studded and stuff like that. So that happened quite recently, and I still, do that sometimes because I feel like if you were like a gothy slash scene slash emo kid in your teens, it never really goes away. Like it's always somewhat present in your persona, in the way that you dress and stuff like that. So I feel like I still don't consider myself, a basic girl. I still feel like the scene queen is still somewhere deep inside me.
Jay-Z wants to know if you have a Cameo. I know you've done some videos about how it works to get WWE superstars Cameo. Are you going to open one if you haven't already?
I have considered it. I don't have one just yet. I also did a poll on my Twitter where I asked my followers, like, should I get a Cameo? And when I do like anonymous polls where people should follow, like, and should like follow their heart and should vote, like, honestly, without being afraid to offending me or stuff like that, I always make like the options somewhat, mildly offensive, just so that people can have a go at me. And they're the options where like, oh guys, should I get a Cameo? And the first option was yes, totally, and the other option was like no, get away, like you're not famous enough for a Cameo. And a surprisingly large amount of people voted for that. I was mildly offended, and I decided to hold off with that for now. But if you guys think that I should make a Cameo, you can, comment below and let me know. Maybe I will get one.
Yes, comment below that she should get a Cameo. I think she should, because you got to start somewhere, and you're definitely on your way up. I've been following your growth, and it's not going to go down anytime soon. You're only beginning. Rise over here 305 wants to know if you have a favorite video game series.
No, I'm not a video game kind of person. I have a friend who is actually a streamer, like her whole career pretty much is streaming video games. Her nickname on Twitch, I think, is Oh Dirty Diana. And I have so many friends who are so into video games, but I, for some reason, am not. And like, I play like once a year. I can play like some Tekken at her birthday party or something like that. And like the one game that I tried to learn and play again for some reason was Team Fortress, which was fun, but then the whole, picture and the setup, I for some reason started finding like anxiety inducing and I had to give up on it. So I have a really weird relationship with video games. I just tend to avoid them as much as possible.
Well, I think you would get along well with me for that, because I feel the same way. There's a lot of wrestling fan gamers out there, and I'm sorry, but I just can't get into them anymore.
Yeah, and I feel like now everyone plays video games, especially in wrestling, as you said, and I'm just like so uneducated on that. Sorry.
Well, it's better to educate your mind like you're doing, because a lot of people are commenting on here. You've got a good head on your shoulder and you're going places. You don't like to be compared to Lana, but James Earl Cash wants to know who would win in an arm wrestling match.
Well, since I am not a wrestler and she is a wrestler and she has been a sportswoman her entire life, she would destroy me. She would, smear me in a thin layer across the whole entire ring. So probably that would happen.
Here's a funny question. When are you going to write a Bible in your image so we can worship you properly?
You guys, seek help. Like, this is not okay.
Now, can you tell us some more about your cooking? I love food, and I've seen a lot of your dining, and I'm very jealous at some of this fine dining you have and some of this sushi top quality that you've eaten. But could you tell us a little bit about your cooking videos and what are some of the stuff that's in them, and what do you like to cook?
Yeah, so this series called Did That Kitchen is now releasing on my channel, and the third and final episode for the season is releasing this Wednesday at noon Eastern Standard Time. It's a premiere, so you can hop on the premiere chat and talk to me. I'll be hanging out in the chat, and you can watch it with all the rest, with all the friends. And the idea of the series that for now has 3 episodes. If you guys like it and if it performs well, I will most definitely make season 2. But the whole idea is basically wrestling snacks, like easy snacks that I usually cook for wrestling, for like movie nights, like with friends or with loved ones. And they're easy to make. They don't take that much of your time. They are delicious and they're shareable. They're like easy to, share with someone. And I feel like this is really like a fun idea and a fun way to tie my cooking obsession to wrestling. And those are some of the all-time greats. So, and they also include a vegan recipe, a vegetarian recipe, a low-calorie recipe. So that's something to fit everyone's taste, because I also have quite some vegan friends and family members. So I did not want to exclude them. So those are the recipes that I pretty much picked based on my own experiences. It's something that I make often. It's something that I find delicious. It's something that my friends and my family members like. So I think you guys might like it too.
Now, you're a world traveler, of course. It's hard to answer a question like this, but is there a country in particular where you like their food?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Like, I think I have like 2 top picks, and number 1 would be China. And I've been to China quite several times, because I used to work for a company that mostly operated in China. And Chinese food is amazing, like the authentic kind, like the one that is the real, the traditional. And I mostly like, they have like pretty much their whole cuisine split into like 2 types. One is like the northern type, and the other is like the southern type, I think. And one is spicy, and the other is sweet. I like the sweet kind, even though I do like spicy food. But they have so many like meats and like the noodles and like the salads. Everything is just so unusual and incredible. And my second top pick would be America. Like, I'm one of those weird people who actually love this, like, I don't know if you can say traditional, but like classic American cuisine. Like, I love burgers, I love fried chicken, I love chicken and waffles, like shrimp and grits, stuff like that. More to like the southern side of America, I guess you could say. But yeah, it's hard to pick, but those 2 must be my ultimate favorites.
And how have your workouts been lately? Are you still not working out that much and just magically keeping this physique of yours, or are you stepping it up at all lately?
I mean, with COVID, we, like all of the people, are moving way less than we used to. So like I am doing something. Like I am dieting on and off. Like I am working out. I even bought like some new like workout gear, and I bought like this belt that's supposed to like trim down your waist. Not sure if it like works, but at least it's making me sweat more, which is great. Not sure if you guys want to know that. But yeah, I'm trying, but I'm still not like the most sporty person that you'll ever meet that like works out every day and like minds their food, because I love food too much to eat clean, first of all. And like I don't have this, discipline of a sporty person. So I've been trying, I've been struggling, I guess you could say.
Well, you're looking better than ever, in my opinion. Jay-Z wants to know, what was the first job you ever had?
Oh, actually, like my first job was pretty late in my years. Like I was not even 18. I was already in the university. And I think I've already told the story several times on different platforms. I actually worked for a news channel in Russia for some time, which was a really fun experience. It's not something that I look back on fondly, I would not say so, but it was just something that helped me get accustomed with TV, with press work, with how that the process works really in a big company. So that was a great experience, a great learning experience. So I know that this is like an unusual first job to have. If I go further, I would say that kind of a job was helping my mom, who is an artist, when she just first started. arrange like exhibitions and like talk to galleries and stuff like that. But it wasn't like an official job, so I'm not sure whether that counts.
Yeah, your mother is quite a talented artist, and she has a very unique style as well. I can see you got some of your fashion sense from her.
Yeah, by the way, she's a designer. She's a fashion designer, and she's a jewelry designer, and she's a photographer. She also has her own Instagram, which is ekart.gallery. And she's definitely the person that I get my style and my, love for everything beautiful from.
6LX Stevie wants to know what food is the most popular in Russia, like in America, maybe it's burgers.
I mean, popular is one thing, traditional is another thing, because like the foods that are traditional to Russia are mostly like soups, like porridge, like pancakes and Russian kind of pancakes, blini. We're actually in Maslenitsa week right now, which is like this old, like old Druze holiday that people celebrated to kind of welcome spring and kind of get winter away from us. We actually like, well, not we, but like people burn those like huge dolls that represent winter so that winter goes away. And the tradition is to eat pancakes throughout the entire week. And on my Instagram, I also posted my pancakes a couple of days ago. So that's one of the traditional things. But as to when it comes to like popular foods, I'm not sure. I think McDonald's has taken over the world to the extent where burgers are the most popular food all over the world, not just in America. So I would say Russian people eat just the very same fast food as Americans do.
Very interesting. Fernando wants to know your thoughts on celebrities beating pro wrestlers when they enter the wrestling world.
Um, well, I was just praising Bad Bunny, but on the one hand, I do feel it's unrealistic. Like we are always so mad when someone, goes out of this realm of believability and will love to defend it so much, but then suddenly, a celebrity wins in a match over a professional wrestler. It's like obviously unrealistic. But then on the other hand, just like sometimes we have weaker and like physically smaller heels win over faces with, maybe getting help from someone, maybe getting distractions, maybe doing, all things unfair to win the match. And I think sometimes the celebrity win can be justified, but it's definitely not something that I, like to see that much.
This is actually not a bad question. I'm curious to know this. What in American dollars would like a Big Mac cost in Russia?
Whew. It's been a long time since I bought a Big Mac. I'm gonna tell you
Yeah.
that. I'm not sure, but it's not expensive. Like I think it's roughly the same price as in America, and I think McDonald's is like this whole worldwide corporation, and they're trying to keep their prices at a similar level in different countries. So I don't think it's gonna be that different.
Now, I don't know if you've seen Pulp Fiction, but someone wants to know
Yeah, I have.
what do they call a quarter pounder with
Yeah,
cheese?
like the thing is, like most people in Russia watch movies with like Russian voiceover, right? But I'm an English language enthusiast, so I tend to watch movies in English. So actually, Pulp Fiction is one of my absolute favorite movies. And this fact about like them calling it quarter pounder in America and them calling it real in Europe is one of the like fun facts that I like to tell people who don't know that. And the thing is, in Russia, it's also called a royal cheeseburger because we also have a metric system and it would not make sense for it to be a quarter pounder.
Well, it's one of my favorite movies too, and I also don't like spicy foods. So one of these days we'll eat together if we're ever at a convention. Jay-Z has a funny comment here. He's shocked your mother is human. He thought your daughter was sent from the heavens.
I
Yeah.
mean, don't be shocked because I feel like my mother looks way more like a goddess than I do. So that kind of makes sense. I think I'm frozen. I think we're experiencing technical difficulties.
I'm sorry, my damn hotel internet screwed me over.
Okay, I was so scared that it was my internet lagging again.
No, it's sometimes this has happened, but I appreciate having you on. We're almost out of time here, anyways. Is there anything you want to plug here as we wrap it up? Of course, Xenia did that. I suggest everyone follow her on all social media, including her YouTube channel, which I am also a subscriber of.
Yeah, my nickname is at Xenia did that on every single platform, and you should follow me on Twitter and Instagram because I do giveaways quite a lot. And my YouTube channel is youtube.com/Xenia did that. And as I said, the new episode of Did That Kitchen is premiering this Wednesday at noon Eastern Standard Time with the live chat, and I'll be hanging out there so you can talk to me. And yeah, catch that soon. And also other exciting projects. And I'm working on a very exciting project that I cannot share a lot of detail on right now, but it's going to involve wrestling and it's going to involve women's rights and celebrity guests. So I'm really excited for you guys to see it. So subscribe and stay tuned.
I'm going to be staying tuned for sure. Congratulations on 1 million views on YouTube. That's a big milestone. And you had a lot of fans on here commenting that they enjoyed having you on. So hope to have you back on in the future. Always a pleasure talking to you. I'm a big fan of yours. I'm not ashamed to say it.
So yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's always great to be here. And I hope I'll see you guys again on this channel and on my channel.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video.